It will be a fight.
And there'll be a lot of death, unfortunately.
It will be a fight we will win.
But a lot less death. But there will be death.
People should be actually kept out of the country for at least 28 days.
America is not prepared.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Butterfield Effect. This episode is very, very exciting. I'm talking to someone who I'm really pumped to talk to, and this is the really cool thing about doing this podcast is I've been able to talk to some people who I look up to, and people who are in a sport that I'm extremely interested in, and one that I spend a lot of time trying to learn about, and one that I have over the past few years actually started to get involved with myself. So to talk to the best in the world at that particular weight class and the best in Australia at this current moment is an absolute honor. And I am pumped. I'm fueled by Cafe Lombate coffee. Absolute killing it, gentlemen. Some of your best. Fucking love your work. Not bad. Big couple of weeks coming up here on my channel. We've got a big merch drop coming up on the 1st of June. There's going to be 25% off everything. So things like these little, what do they call them? Pop sockets. You put on the back of your phone and you hold it. You can hold it when you're jerking the gherkin or whatever you're doing. It's all, you can do whatever you want once you buy it. Just don't send me pics. That's fucking gross. Ladies and gentlemen, on the show today, we have an absolute legend. But before we get stuck right into it, make sure you check out the Clips channel. The link is down below. If you can't watch this entire video, if you can't enjoy the audio clips from this video, then head to the Butterfield Effects Clips channel. You can digest them slowly, okay? They're just little clips, not like little clips, but littler clips, not an hour and a bit long. They're only a couple of minutes long, so you can digest them. Anyway, go and check that out. On today's show, Alexander Volkanovski, a man from the Gong, from Wollongong, a great man, and, the great man, Alexander the Great Volkanovski. He is the current UFC Featherweight Champion of the world. His record is, he's on a 17 or 18 fight win streak at the moment. He's only lost one fight in his professional career, and he's also got a professional boxing record of 1 win, no losses, so 100% there as well. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and he fights out of the Freestyle Fighting Gym and City Kickboxing. He's from Windang in New South Wales. I don't know why I'm going through all these slats here. I'm just trying to channel my inner Bruce Buffer. Currently weighing 66 kilograms. Now, that's 145 pounds. He's 5'6". Now, that is an interesting point, and we'll bring that up later in the video. But ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome to the show, for the first time, the great man, Alexander the Great Volkanovski. How you doing, brother? You doing well?
I'm good, man. I'm doing very well.
Thanks for coming on, man. This is fantastic. It's all happening. Jesus Christ. It's
That's it, mate. Thanks for having me.
Mate, I am currently jumping into a coffee. It's the middle of the day. I'm fasting, jumping on the old. I'm trying to push that 18-hour fast out to 20 hours because I'm a freak, and it's all happening over here. Getting hungry, but it's you just got to mix it up and try different things. I mean, I've been watching you. At the moment, you've got a campaign yourself with a training schedule or regime that you're pushing on Instagram. What's happening there? Because I've seen you train on like that stuff you've posted anyway, and like that's some full on shit. Your work ethic in regards to training is full on. Like you're known for your cardio. What are people going to endure when it comes to training with you?
It's funny you say that because that's probably a lot of people say that to me. They're like going, oh, they really take it on, but they're like, man, because again, I've known that's what I'm known for, hard work and just getting shit done. So, but the thing is with this program, it's actually my strength and conditioning program. So this is sort of a program that's sort of outside my fighting sort of schedule, if you get what it's with. They cater to my fighting training, and I'll be honest, my harder sessions and my crazy sessions that people have probably seen footage of and be like, fuck that,
yeah.
would be in the gym rather than my strength and conditioning. So this strength and conditioning program is more for fundamental movements, injury prevention, specific explosive drills. So recovery is good. there's sometimes especially with that program, was more of a home workout, so the load wasn't too heavy. It's all about moving right. Still get your heart rate up a little bit. There's gonna be a bit of that as well, but honestly, there'll be beginners that will, you'll get a good sweat out, but at the same time, you'll get through and it'll be very effective because, again, it's all about moving right. I was struggling with back injuries a while ago. That's why I went to these guys. And they've just built a program for me to get my body moving. So whether it is, getting to the gym or fighting or whatever it is, if I do have injuries, to work around it, this is just so your body's moving right. So it's crucial for me and very beneficial. And I believe so many people can benefit from that. But everyone might be scared that they're going to get their ass kicked.
No, that's good. People need that in their lives. I mean, for my perspective, when it comes to injury prevention, and I like you played a lot of footy growing up, and I want to get into that later on. But when there was a little bit, might be a 10-minute warm up, you do a lap or you do a couple laps, and then you get stuck right into it. I know a lot of young players who they go through the grades, well, they go through the rep systems, and they get to a point where they've blown out a knee because they've been smashing, massive squats, doing the, PRs every second week, and then they're running and they're non-stop training. Where does that lie as far as professional rugby league with the juniors coming through in line with the professional MMA fighters of the world, the UFC fighters of the world? Is the UFC a step above that? Is it somewhere on par with each other?
Man, it's different for MMA fighters because each team or each fighter, they're on their own. You know what I mean? So it's not really, you can get information the UFC, from the PI, UFC PI, Performance Institute. There is information that they will help you with, and if you've got any questions, they will do that. But other than that, well, especially before the PI was there, you're on your own. Like, what I mean? You need a physio, you find your own physio, you need strength, everything's there. But for me, we do the research. We've got teams that do the research, and and that's crucial. So the information is out there, but like you said, there's a lot of people that just want to, I couldn't be bothered spending time getting the body moving right. I just want to get, you know what I mean? I just want to go out there, but and then you wonder why people get injured. Again, I was one of those guys. I'll be honest with you. I was one of those guys that just wanted hard work, hated warming up, but now you realize how important it is, especially when I was having back injuries and, it was back pain, and it was for a time there, it was like literally ruining my life, and it was really getting to me. So I needed to make change.
If you're one of those people, and I assume you are one of these people, I obviously don't know you, but one of those quote unquote hard cunts who just rip in, and if you particularly as a young person, you're not so much focused on your warm up, your warm down, your stretching regime. Are you using, using foam rollers? Are you getting acupuncture? Are you jumping in cryotherapy? All that type of business. But as you get older, I mean, you're in your early 30s now. How much more of an emphasis you have to put on recovery so you can perform the week after? One of the things that I wanted to sort of bring up at the start of this podcast was a bit about your history. And as a rugby league player, you grew up in Wollongong, yeah?
Yep, the gong.
The gong, the beautiful gong. And I mean, what else do you do in that part of the world? Like, you either play soccer or footy, right? And that's where it's your only options.
Man, there's plenty to do here, mate. There's God's country down here, we call it. Nah, look, again.
It's all right. I've been there once for about 15. Oh, no, I did a show there once. I was there for about 4 hours and I left. It was nighttime when I came in, nighttime when I left. I'm sure it's beautiful.
You never came back, eh? No, it's look. It's just again, there's a lot of sports happening down here, but because I've done them all here. Soccer, I even wrestled, then I've done rugby league, and now I'm doing MMA. So it's I've done a fair bit. I've always been down here in the Illawarra, but yeah, man, it's again, like when you're going back to training and all these sorts of things, man, it's crucial. And again, back in the day, the knowledge wasn't there, but now through look at we've got access to all the information, and if people look in the right spots, and study, there's a lot out there, and they are very beneficial. We're all about that sort of stuff. If you want to be at the peak of your of your division or, the peak of your body, whatever it is, you want to be the best that you can be. You want to take all angles and make sure, even if, they talk about the 1%ers, they do help, especially when you're at the highest level.
People seeing you fighting in the 145 division would probably find it hard to believe that you played front row for a number of years. Was that your number one spot playing footy growing up, or did you move up into that after hitting the gym a little bit?
Nah, man, I've always been actually, I was a second rower when I was really young, and then went into front row. I remember even though I was front row when I was 97 kg. You could just imagine me. I'm 5'6" on a good day, and 97 kilograms. So you could just imagine. And so even when I started losing weight, so my last year of football, I had a couple of fights, and I was fighting at middleweight. So I had fights at 85, and I was cutting weight. But, I was so you can imagine, I lost a little bit of weight, so I didn't really have a frame of a front rower at 97, because I was so small. But, I could run pretty hard. I was pretty hard to.
You would have been so hard to fucking tackle, just this little mound just coming at you. And I've seen you run these hills too quick.
Little tiny legs, mate. That's what it is. Little short stumps, mate. They could move. I'm telling you.
I bet. Hard to tackle, brother.
Even when I was at the last year, so I lost some weight, and they wanted to put me in. It was a later couple of years. They wanted to put me in second row again, and I'm the type of guy again. I'm known for that hard work, and give me the fucking ball, and I'm going to get us out of here. Even if we're on our 5 meter line, I'm get moving people out of the way. Give me the ball. I'm getting us out of here. That's just how I've always been.
Yeah.
I was like, once we get closer to the finish, everyone wants the ball once you're near the try line. But that's when I wouldn't get ball much. But I was always doing hit ups, getting and the hard jack, and I was all about that. So then I changed positions and went to second row, and it just wasn't my spot. I needed give me the ball and run. That's just me, and that's what I'm good at. Quick play the ball, run hard, tire these big boppers. Again, run the center, get the quick play the ball. Again, I've got these short limbs, and it's very easy for me to play the ball. So that was my position. So within a few games, it was like, nah, back to front row, 80 kg back in the front rower. So it was it's funny, but at the same time, that was my position, man. I did pretty good. A lot of people thought I was mad when I gave it up, but
yeah, I bet.
Now
look at you. That's something that I think a lot of people face, is this idea of. I've been reading this book, the war. What is it called? The fucking War of Art. Not the Art of War, the War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. And it talks about resistance that you face in life, and whether that is making a change, making a decision that's going to better you. And for a serious period of time, it can be quite detrimental to the people around you. Like, I'm sure when you gave up footy or you were doing, taking this risk, taking on MMA, like your family around, I know you got a young family, they would have been like, okay, this is scary. There's a lot of doubt floating around. But if you're someone who's willing to, and the War of Art talks about people in creative fields, where, and sitting down, writing, making sure you do the work, put in the hours, and the same goes for a physical activity, a sport, or whatever discipline you're trying to sort of really take on in your life. You have to put in the hours of work, and I think that anyone with that sort of base of, as you said, you played soccer and you played footy. Wrestling as well. If you have that base, then you can almost do anything. That if you're willing to put the hours in, then you can reach the potential that particularly you have in a matter of 9 years since you started training.
Yeah, 9 years. 9 years, yeah, since the first day of training. So
it's fucking
crazy.
Insane.
Yeah, it is. As with what you're saying there, this is a pretty good point. So I understand what you're saying, and I'm all about that. When it comes to, you are going to make sacrifices. Again, like for me, I'll be honest. For me to have training partners and have like 20 of your best training partners, over there in New Zealand. Like when I'm over here, I've got training partners and things like that. But I obviously, when you're in closer fight, you want as many training partners as you can, big gym and all these sorts of things. That's why I do go to City Kickboxing. But I'm the type of person that I adapt to whatever it is. I'm lucky enough that I've got a family, and my wife is very supportive, and knows that I need to go and travel to get the training. But if she wasn't, like say she wasn't okay with it, and I wouldn't do it. That's again, I'm dedicated to my family more than anything. You know what I mean? And I'm so dedicated to this sport because I do this for my family.
Yeah.
That's how I am. So I'm lucky enough that we do that. But if I was not in the position I was and say I had to stay at home, I'm the type of person that I will adapt and I will make it happen at home. I will do these hours. I'll do whatever needs to work. If I need to travel a little bit extra, whatever it is, I will make it happen. I will adapt to the situation. And again, like that happens through life experiences from young age. Again, like there's going to be hurdles put in front of you. There's going to be obstacles. We need to adapt. And I'm comfortable with adapting. If something goes wrong, I'll fucking fix it.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to be, to be straightforward and a prick about it, but that's just how I am. And I think in a sport like ours as well, mixed martial arts, it's a fucking roller coaster, man. There's so many
You have to have that attitude. You have to have that attitude. And I mean, I that was my attitude coming in with stand-up, right? I was doing stand-up for about 5 years. I was making, some room, some headwind. It was good, but I wasn't really kicking into the gear that I wanted to. And I thought, all right, YouTube seems to be the way to do it. And I said to my missus, I said, this has to work. I gave myself no other option. I said, this is the only way we're going to buy a house. This is the only way we're going to set up our future family. It has to work. So for a year or so, I put up like 2 or whatever videos a week and got no one gave a shit. And then all of a sudden it popped off and all that type of business. And the rest was sort of history. And without that attitude, I don't think I would have stuck through those moments. And I know it's different to sport and MMA in particular, but it is the same sort of attitude. You get knocked down, you get back up and you try again. You figure out a way to not make the same mistake twice, and you just learn from every error that you make. And I think that's so important for particularly young people and young men to hear that there is a way forward. And, I train in Newcastle here at Warrior World Gym, MMA gym here just down the road from my house. And the guys who run it, absolutely amazing. Paul is a great person, and Tay as well. And we go down there and it's a family environment. It's so different to the footy environment. I don't know if you felt the same sort of feeling there. It's very, very different. But those people push you forward. And I find that's probably an issue in footy as well, is because it's a team sport, it's not so much about, the individual. You allow for the team to make up for the mistakes of the individual. So therefore you don't have to push that individual. You don't have to motivate them. You don't have to bring them in as tight knit as you would someone who goes out into a cage and is by themselves. If that makes sense. I think it's so important. And to be able to motivate people in a way that makes sense to each other. Now, some people might just be hard-nosed and like you give them shit and you say this is bullshit, and other people you might have to mold in a different way. Did you notice the difference in the environment and the motivational tactics when you left rugby league and came to MMA?
Yeah, man. The environment is definitely a lot different. It's two complete different sports in general and everything, and then culture, and then environments, everything. But it's and you can take so much from everything. So you can benefit from every little thing, like what you just said with adapting. So many people can take what we're talking about and use it in their everyday life, even though it's got nothing to do with what we're talking about. But that's just it, adapting, you know what I mean, and things like that. But with the football, that was one thing that I've quoted a few times, where I love the sport, and I loved it. I saw all my mates. I love football, rugby league, but there was times where I remember I'd be playing. I could have the best game. This is something that I've said. Like, I love the fact, because again, I'm a hard worker. I'm going to do whatever it takes to, you know what I mean? And it's all on me in there. In that cage, it's all me. So, on the field, sometimes, if you want a couple of seconds off, you could do it. I might be letting my team down. You could have the best game. This is actually what I say. You could have the best game of your life and still lose. Mm. You could play the best football you have ever played, make the most meters, score the most tries, and still lose. I guess you could say, you could fight the best fight and lose in the octagon, but that's purely because that guy's better than you. So rather than you've got to rely on other people, which is, again, for me, I was always the type, again, like, I don't want to let my teammates down. So if I see someone busting their ass and I'm fucking letting that bloke down, you know what I mean? That cunt's like, look at him, he's sitting over there busting his ass, making tackle after tackle, and I fucking miss a tackle, and, you know, that fucking does my head in, you know. That's the type of person I am.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everyone's like that, but I think it's a good way to be. So I've always been like, even in football, I try to be like that. But MMA, I've got no choice but to be like that. You fuck up, you're getting your head punched in, you're getting your head punched through the canvas, you're going to fucking lose. So if you're not fit enough, you know, you better land that lucky punch, otherwise you're going into deep waters.
Yeah.
You could, you know, and then not just that, you know, you could fucking be dominating the fight and they can land that punch. So again, you need to, it's all on you in there, you know what I mean? And again, I'm the type of person that I'll put myself in the best position that I can to make sure I'll get the job done. So yeah, it's just, again, they are two completely different sports, but you can take so much out of both of them.
Yeah, I enjoyed my time playing, and I played two positions as well, like you. I played fullback and under sixes, and then I played front row from then on until I was like 24. I finished playing at, I think I was about 130 kilos and 6'8". So very, very similar to you. You would be my worst nightmare. Just hit me around the legs, just gone. Take me knees out. But I lost a lot of love for the sport. I you know, they banned fighting, they banned the shoulder charge, and this was all around the same time that I stopped playing. And I talked about this with Dan and Kemp, and I talked about it with a lot of other people about how the sport has changed, how unfortunately, there is no personalities in the game. No one's going out there, no one's playing that route of, you know, I want to go and smash this bloke, or I'm better than this bloke, or any shit talk. There's no risk for you to go in and put a high shot on a halfback or a 5'8". You know, the other front row from the other team's not going to come and take your head off. You know you're safe. Do you think that's a bad way for the sport to go? Do you enjoy that the sport's a bit more professional? Would you like to see it go back to the way of the 90s? Because that's what I want.
Let's be real. That's what everyone wants deep down. You know what I mean? It's you know, you're going to make a lot of people upset by saying that or doing that. Like you'll make people be vocal about it, be upset, but let's be realistic. Majority are fucking loving it. Majority want to see people, you know what I mean? Again, you don't want the sport to be known as they're just a bunch of grubs. You don't want that, but at the same time, people have seen it. Even in our sport, they want to clean it up. But at the end of the day, what do people want to see?
They want to see blood. They want to see blood.
Stand toe to toe and just punch each other's head in. You know what I mean? It's just in us. I think it's just, you know, it's from forever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, I'd be lying if I said I don't miss them days. You know, and you're right about things have definitely changed. They've definitely changed. Again, I agree with safety as well. But I mean, at the same time, man, like, you know, it's safety. Like you could. Things can go terribly wrong, and no matter how safe you can do it, you get what I mean? Like, again, like you try and limit that, but at the same time, I don't know, there's got to be a good medium. Well, at the same time, I jump in a car, I'm taking just as much risk every day.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me, oh, no, you can't do this. Like, mate, you're going to let me jump in that car where someone could just come clean me up. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's again, like, I guess they can be like, oh, yeah, but we're limiting the numbers. I go, yeah, but you're limiting the interest as well. So
it's funny to watch. Yeah, it's funny to watch someone get knocked out and everyone freaks out. The game stops. Everyone panics. You know, the commentators are concerned and worried. And yet the next day you might be watching a UFC card and everyone's standing cheering, watching someone get knocked out. And in both sports, it's the same thing. This is a risk you take when you step into the cage or you run onto the field. It's strange to see the different attitudes between the sports. But mate, I started watching the UFC after listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, and I listened to Joe Rogan's podcast since I was in year 12. So it's been some time now, and that got me into jiu-jitsu and into MMA training, all that type of shit. And it is a far better sport. I love rugby league. I grew up with it. My old man played Origin and played for the Knights for 12, 13 years. But I love MMA far more than I do rugby league right now. And to watch you come through the ranks after 9 years of training. I went through and watched some of your fights last night and the night before. And I watched probably about 6 or 7. And one of them that caught my eye was, well, there was a few that caught my eye, obviously. But the Darren Elkin fight, when he was moving forward, you were hitting him with absolutely everything, and this dude just doesn't drop. You know, his face is bloodied. He looks like a mess. What's going through your mind when you're teeing off on someone and they just don't stop?
Mate, like it's tough. It's happened a couple of times. I've had times where I just like sometimes I'll look at the ref. I've had times where I'm like, come on, man, stop the fight. I don't want to punch this guy in the head anymore. It didn't really get to that stage with the Darren Elkins fight, you know. But I had a lot more. It's funny. I don't know if you heard, but I had a lot more things to worry about in that fight. So I tore my intercostal muscle 2 days before that fight, and so I like tore it. So like I could not move.
Which muscle? Which muscle's that? Where's that?
That's like a rib cartilage.
Right.
So it's pretty much, you know, you've got rib cartilage, and you know, you tear your rib cartilage, or you know, broken rib. Like they're supposedly all the same. You know what I mean?
Known for being very painful too.
It's a fucking nightmare. Put it this way, I may as well tell that story.
Yeah.
So this just shows you what I'm talking about, how fucking crazy the sport can be. So how emotionally, roller coaster, physically, just everything. It can be so crazy. Sometimes it can go smoothly, but sometimes it can be a fucking roller coaster. So I was there again, big camp. This was my first ranked opponent. So I spent a bit of time away from home. There was like 5 weeks. It was the most I ever spent as well. So that was hard enough for me. I ended up going over 2 weeks early to Vegas to watch the boys fight. Yeah, Israel Adesanya, Dan Hooker. And then I fought the week after in Boise. And then 2 days before my fight, I tear my intercostal muscle and could not move. Like I'm talking, like I literally could not move. I like get there, I'm like, trying to stand, like you can't even breathe heavy. You literally can't turn your body. Trying to lay down in your bed, like it takes you 2 minutes just to try and lay down. I'm still water loading, so I need to get up to piss while I'm trying to rest. You know what I mean? It's just, and then I remember getting up. Took me about 5 minutes just to get up. That's how long it takes you to get up. You've got a game plan, literally fucking game plan to like, how do I get up? Or I'll turn my body here, do this, do that. So you can imagine. And I just had 5 weeks away from my family, and it got to me. Mentally, I was just like, how can I fight? I can't fucking move. How can I fight? I just spent all this time away from my family, and we don't fight, we don't get paid. I spent all this money, you know, and I'm not earning big money back then. And you know, it's a struggle, and it got me. And I come to tears. So I sat there, and I start getting emotional. I start crying, and then it was hurting me so much from crying that I couldn't even fucking cry. So I sat there, and I started like, oh. I'm like, I can't even fucking cry. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is like literally, that's where I was at. And I'm like, fuck. And then I'm training, didn't train, like just trying to water load, get the weight down. Obviously stressing because I could not move. I had the doctors say, look, you know, you could get a cortisone shot, but if you do, the commission might pull you from the fight. I'm like, well, fucking, let's not do that. I'll just take it as like, the best thing I could do is give you any anti-inflammatories. And he's like, you know, you'll be surprised, you know, once you get in there, how much adrenaline rush can help. And like, and he goes, I might be able to maybe half the pain by then, like it was in 2 days. And I'm like, half the pain ain't gonna be enough. I'm hoping you can give me a lot better than that because I can't move. Even before so I won't drag on. So you can imagine where I'm at. I go out there, and then even warming up, I can't even throw my right hand warming up yet. Because so I'm just throwing more jabs so I don't turn my torso. Can't do any of the ground stuff. I got to go in there, throw a couple of punches while the adrenaline rush, and then start getting the rhythm going.
Yeah, it sounds like you need to take
my head in that fight. And then I've got this fucking guy that won't fucking get put to sleep as well. I'm like, fuck off for a minute, mate. Give me a break. No, it was crazy. So if you've seen, I dropped him, and I'm all about, if you watch most of my, I'm all about punching people's head through the canvas. Ground and pound was a thing, especially in my early days. And I was too worried about jamming into him because I was worried I was going to hit my rib. I was worried, you know, I'd run straight into him. So I sort of crunched over to protect my rib. So that's why I went for them guillotines. I never do that. But I've done that a few times in that fight purely because I was head fucked from my rib. So there's a story around that. That was, mate, if you want to know what fighting can be like,
that's insane. That adds so many more levels to that fight. And it's something you probably don't, most people when they watch a card, they're sitting there and they're eating their their chips and dip and they're having a beer or whatever. And you say, come on, these blokes, bang, we want to watch them bang. We want to see blood, all that type of shit. And you don't think about the mental state of the person, whether there's an injury. And I guess a lot of fighters, particularly after a 5-week camp, would be injured, would be damaged in a certain way. And to come into that and then have to swing. And you think about, you talking about 2 days later, 2 days earlier, you couldn't get in and out of bed without having a game plan of how to do it without minimizing the pain. And then you're throwing bombs, you're throwing right hands, you're moving, you're twisting, all your body is working as one. That is just fucking insane. And then you got to deal with this prick who won't go down, and you're successfully tagging him too. It's not like, it's a fight where he's coming back at you. Well, he was, but coming back at you in a way where it's damaging you and there's this big risk. You're winning the fight, you're winning the rounds, and yet you're in enormous pain. You're trying to shelter that, and you're just trying to make through that 15 minutes of hell.
Mate, and it's, while that's on your mind, I remember being on the cage, I'm holding, and I'm just focused on, I can't get into this fucking, grapple match because I don't want to twist my body like that, especially on load. So I'm like sitting there, like trying to stay as neutral as I can, and so there were so many things, so many factors that I had to get my head around. But now I wish I just didn't fucking worry and just go out there because, man, the adrenaline rush did help a lot. Really? But I mean, I remember it didn't help when I threw my first punch, my right hand. I was about to. I set something up. I went to throw it and I didn't because it wasn't there. And it took the wind out of me straight away. I remember that. It was like, I actually got a bit of footage. I could actually show you that. I throw it and you see me go, and you see me bring my arm back in. I'm like, I literally, in my head, I just think this is going to be a fucking long night. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's sort of where my
What kicked off the adrenaline? Was it taking a first shot or a jab, or was it copping a kick? What was the drop for the adrenaline? I
guess the combinations. So the heat of the moment. So if you are in there, whether it is you getting punched in the head, or because a lot of it, instinct goes a long way in our fights. Obviously, we set up, we do a lot, but at the same time, there's a lot that you train your body to do under pressure. You know what I mean? So in them times, there's not much time for thinking. You know what I mean? Luckily, you train your body good enough where you do things properly. And then, halfway through that, you might, again, as I'm coming out, watch this, what's that? But at the same time, the heat of the moment, it's sort of, I wouldn't say a blur, it's sort of a bit of a blur. So that's sort of where you'll probably sort of forget about it. So you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised where that can happen. So the same thing is even with when I broke my hand against Max Holloway. So I broke my hand in one of the later rounds. And I remember throwing it and being like, oh shit, that's not good. Broke that. So I knew I broke down here. But again, so in the fight, I still got to win, right? So I can't worry about this yet. I still got this guy trying to take my head off, and he's a gamer. He's just going to come forward. So I am trying to use my left hand. Again, I'm using my left hand when I'm setting things up. I'll go the leg kicks, left hand, left hooks. But as soon as heat of the moment, say he comes and engages, I was throwing the right hand no matter. I don't care. I'm just going to throw it. It's just instinct. It's just going to go. I'll worry about the pain fucking later. Yeah. So it was all right. But you could see me while I was setting. You see me as I was just jabbing. I'll jab, hook, jab my way out, leg kick, and I was just using my left hand for a bit. But as soon as he really engaged, that will still just come over anyway. So that just shows you what I mean by in the heat of the moment, you're just going to fucking do what you got to do.
Well, I guess that takes us through to the next fight against Chad Mendes. He didn't really drop you. You ended up on almost one knee, falling backwards, and you were straight back up. But 2 minutes later, you drop him and win the fight in the second round. What happens in that moment when you've copped a good shot, you've lost your balance perhaps, or you're a bit out of it, and then you're straight back up? Is it just go through the motions and you just do what you've done a million times in the gym, or is it a decision in your own mind that you're like, okay, I need to do this next, I need to do that next, and then I need to work forward?
All right, so to get technical about it, without trying to chat your ears off too much about it.
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it. So when he lands that shot, so again, I can see him starting to crumble, and I put the pressure on. I can see him gassing. I've got him going to my rhythm. I've got him reacting how I want. I've got the pressure on hard. and I can see that. I've got him fighting my fight now. But as soon as he landed that, I had to, all I was thinking, I'm trying to let him know, I'm still here. Don't get, because I don't want him to, again, he's just going to, now it's not me fight. He's not fighting my fight. He thinks he's hurt me. He's just going to go balls to the wall. Yeah, I could catch him coming in. But now I don't have him doing exactly what I want. I had him, literally I started getting him doing exactly what I wanted him to do. And then that's how deep, we get into it. But as soon as that happened, I knew he's just going to go nuts. So I'm just like, oh shit, I bounce back up. I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. Let him trying to pop jab out, let him know I'm still here. But he's still getting careless, and he lands another one, and I go down. But again, straight away, I wanted to get back in his face and let him know that, hey, I'm all right. You better pull up. And then as soon as I landed that left hook, I went back. I landed the left hook, and boom, he sort of stopped, and I went straight back on the foot, and I sent him on the back foot. Got him straight back into my rhythm within seconds, and that's when I could see in his face, we got him. We're done. So, to be honest, I wasn't rocked. Yep. I went down, but I was there the whole time. So it was just me in my head was just being like, let him know that you got to let him know that you're fine. Don't let him fucking get careless and maybe because he's explosive. He's a dangerous fighter.
Yeah.
Don't let him think he's got it and just go balls of war and then land something. You know what I mean? So that's sort of where I was at. And then as soon as I landed that left hook, and then I started landed some jabs, and I got him back on the back foot straight away. I could see it. I'm like, pour it on. So I just started pouring it on, you know what I mean? And I could see the beginning of the end straight after that.
And post that fight, you are now looking down the barrel of a couple more fights, and you're fighting for the belt. Something you've worked towards, for what, 8 years, 7 years at this point. Does the pressure sort of mount at that point? Does it ever get too much? Does it get too difficult to sort of continue the same way of training?
Not for me. I'm all right with this. So even with these fights, to be honest with you, my hardest matchups in my division, I've already taken out. I literally have. You got guys like Chad Mendes. You don't call out Chad Mendes. No. I called out Chad Mendes because I knew that that's going to put me in a very good position to call out fucking Aldo, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or whoever it is, whoever's at the top. So I call out Chad Mendes knowing that, again, this is where I'm looking at it. I need to be successful. I need to take out these guys. And for me to fast track my way through, I need to take out these killers that no one wants. I'll fight Chad Mendes. Again, he's a wrestler, very powerful, dangerous sort of guy. So not many people want to fight him, but I knew I can break him. So again, you don't want to be putting pressure against someone that's so dangerous like that, be in his face. That was this fight was, if I try and play very smart and all that, again, he could still win because he's an athlete. So my way of winning, the way I looked at it, was very effective. Put the pressure on, be smart, or put the pressure on, break him, get the job done. So that's a tough fight. So I already took that out knowing that the position for me. Again, with Aldo. Who fights Aldo in his hometown? Which I
was going to bring up. That's fucking insane. They're also the whole crowd, a packed crowd in Rio de Janeiro, screaming, "You're going to die!" That's a hectic moment.
Exactly. Who wants to do that? Who wants to put themselves in that position? Not just that, you're doing it to a guy that now you've got to fight in 3 rounds. They're saying he's never lost 3 rounders. He's took out, again, he might have had them losses against Max and Conor, but he just murked 2 top contenders that were ready for title fights and just murked them. So he was taking out guys. So again, he was still dangerous. Fighting him 3 rounds in his hometown. Not many people want to do that. But me, that's not how I look at it. I'm different. I'm like, I fight him. I'm the next in line. I get a fucking title shot. That's all I'm looking at. That puts me in a position where I can take that fucking belt. So that just shows you, some people are different. And that's just me. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what it is. And not just that. He's another hard matchup for me. Stylistically, he's a very, very good counter fighter. Very, very well-based, very strong, almost impossible to take down. So in that fight, it's a tough matchup. But, we had to strategize. We knew how to get that win. I had to change a lot up for that fight. Just shows you how, again, I don't want to talk myself up, but it just shows you how versatile I am and how, you know what I mean, how I'm well-rounded I am. Not only I can fight, striking, wrestling, grappling, I can blend it together. I can change everything just to get the job done. And and then you got guys like Max. Again, Max, a very, very good boxer. You ain't gonna break Max. Another cardio machine, another clever dude as well. He knows the game, so he knows things that I do well. I know things that he does well. Another hard matchup. So I took out 3 of the probably toughest matchups for me back to back. Why? Because it needed to be done to put me in a position. Otherwise, I'd still be trying to shoot for them ranks. Maybe.
Yeah,
it's not good enough for me.
And
I want there. I want that fucking belt.
And that's the attitude you got to have. That's the attitude of a champion, and it worked. I mean, watching the Max fight, 42 strikes to the leg in 10 minutes in 2 rounds, something that I think was almost a record or very, very close. It was a record for the featherweight. Man, that is, I mean, I've copped maybe 2 leg kicks in my life at 80%, and I was limping for a month. This is absolute. Max must still be limping after that. That is an absolute, just a demolishment, if that's even a word. Absolute carnage on his poor fucking thighs.
Yeah, man. Well, again, obviously it does hurt. Obviously, no one likes being kicked in the legs, but at the same time, it went deeper. There was strategy behind it. There was strategy in breaking his rhythm, and so it goes deeper. But at the same time, obviously, if we could get him, he likes to stand heavy on that front leg. Yeah, he loves his jab. He's rangy, and he's really good at takedown defense because of that sort of stance he likes. But again, we knew what he does good, and we knew how to sort of counter that and shut him down. That's what we did. But at the same time, a lot of people are like, oh no, his legs must have hurt. I go, fucking, so were mine. Trust me, my legs were fucking in pain. I still got, I'll bring my fucking leg up.
Break it out. Break it out.
Oh no, you can't really see. That little, you can't really see it.
Is that calcification or?
Well, just, like this was, it's been a while now, but that was like a good solid cork on my bone, or like, I don't know what it was. That was tender for a good couple of months.
Yeah.
So I took that good, you know what I mean? It's better now, but
fuck,
mate, it's painful. It is painful, but again, man, it's just, again, I'll get the job done and worry about the pain later afterwards.
What was the lead up to that fight like? Championship fight, your first championship fight in the UFC. This is the goal you've set for yourself. One of those attitudes that you had where this has to work. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get it done. And now you're there. You're in. Was it in Vegas? You're floating around for the week. What's not even just the camp, but what's the mindset like coming into that? Is it relaxed? Is it are you running through the fight in your head 1,000 times? What is it?
It's for me, it's relaxed. I'm pretty relaxed. Again, I just try and be me. I try to stay composed, and I just don't let the pressure get to me. When I do try and obviously pay attention to the fight and think of how it could go down, but at the same time, I worry more about that while I'm training. Stick to a game plan. You know what I mean? And there's that's where I'll do that. But other than that, that's why I don't mind fight week. To get your mind off it, I've got to do all your media obligations. You got to water load, you got to get your feeds, and then you train. There's so much happening where you can sort of keep your mind off the fight.
Yeah.
But you obviously need to know you're fighting. But me being in that position, fight week, that whole process lets me know I'm fighting. But at the same time, keeps me busy, keeps me sane, keeps me not worrying about fucking not eating and drinking so much water. You know what I mean? It's just all. I don't want to sit there and just be like, oh, I'm fighting for a title. I'm pretty good at not keeping my head like that anyway. So I'm pretty chill. But again, for me, there's a lot of pressure in trying to keep yourself so composed. Again, I believe that going in there was strategy, and I had to work a game plan. I had to keep myself composed. If you want to stick to a game plan, you need to be composed. If you want to see what's happening in there as much, the best you can, you want to use your brains in there. You want to be able to last the 5 rounds. You need to be smart, and to be smart, like, you need to be composed. So I'm trying to keep myself composed the whole week, or the whole camp pretty much, where it's a lot of pressure. You end up having a lot of pressure. But the beauty of it is once you're done, once it's all done, you can just let it go. Fuck holding anything in, let your emotions roll, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care if I act like a little, whatever you would say, like, a little, like, whatever, you know what I mean? Let it go. Now I can, now I get to really soak up the crowd. I can sit there, go crowd and go on nuts, crying, whatever it is, I can let it all go. I wouldn't let myself get to that state beforehand, because I need to stay composed. I've got my head, this is how I've got to be. And then afterwards it's like, fuck that.
Yeah, I think
Crazy.
I think that's the attitude of a champion. I mean, you look at a lot of people, it's about calm. And I've had two other world champions on this show, Robert Whittaker and John Wayne Parr, and they're both very similar in that mindset where it's your job. You do it day in, day out in the gym. You're going into it. You're going to get it done. You know what you're going to do. And in a sense, you've almost won it already. You know, you believe. I think if you go into a fight thinking you can't win, you're already beaten. You know, you need to go in with this attitude of victory. And that's something that I think follows that attitude or that feeling of resistance that I was talking about earlier on with that book. Is, you know, there's all these things pushing you to feel negative about what's going to happen on Sunday or Saturday or whenever the fight is. All these things giving you this trying to give you the mindset of, okay, I need to be fearful of that, fearful of what could happen, what might happen. But to be able to push through that and continually push through that, particularly on your win streak, you know, that's giving you added pressure, right? Is that something that's in the back of your head? I can't lose. That's going to break my streak.
100%. That's 4 steps back, man. Again,
Yeah.
My family's gonna, you know, it's gonna be a struggle. Like, you know what I mean? It's gonna be a struggle to get back to where I am. You know, it's gonna be more pressure on the family. So I refuse to lose. There's no way I'm letting myself lose. There's no way I'm getting back in the line. You know what I mean? I need that belt. I need to be successful. I need to, you know what I mean? The only way I can look after my family is to fucking win.
Yeah.
And that's what I've put in my head. But what you're saying is, it's crucial. You need to know you can win. You need to know you're going to win. You need to know what you've got to do to win. But you need to know, like, again, to stick to a game plan and all that, you need to know you can still lose as well. So you need to know you can't just, there's nothing, whatever I do, I'm going to win. I don't care. And then, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, all right, that's why we got game plans, right? There's this strategy because there's a chance of you losing, especially when you find the best in the world, right? So you want to be, you know, you want to limit their chances of winning. So you need to stick to a game plan for that to happen. I know I can win, but let's do it properly. If I just, you get some fighters that I think, a good example is Luke Rockhold Bisping. Luke Rockhold, I don't even think he would have had a game. Well, you know, he would have thought literally like, I'm going to murk this guy so easy. Literally, I'm not having a dig at him, but like literally that confident that no matter what he does, he is going to absolutely bash him. But I mean, we're in a crazy fucking sport, mate. Anything can happen. So you got to make sure that shit don't happen to you because, again, look at, mate, he was on top of the world then. Look at the run he has now. And he'll never be back there. You got to make sure you got to be careful. It's a very, very fucking unforgiving sport. So you got to be clever at the same time. Know you can win, but know what fucking sport you're in because someone can take that away from you like that.
It was great watching that Max fight because you, maybe after the second round, you could tell you were having a lot of fun. And you were talking, I'm not sure what you were saying, but it wasn't like 1 or 2 word jabs. It was like full sentences. You were having a conversation in there. What was going on between you two?
See, man, look, we're both pretty cool guys. Again, we're pretty chill. Yeah, he's known to be chill, and so am I. I'm not going to sit there and trash talk. But early on in that fight, this is what I mean by there's a lot more that goes on. You know, that's probably why it's so good seeing, like, to even have these no crowds, and then to be actually see some of the stuff that you don't really realize. Even the connections, hearing the connections, but hearing conversations, and you know what I mean. And then hearing the ref and the corners and all that. There's so much more you can actually understand. You'd be like, oh shit, there's a lot more than just these guys just fucking standing in the octagon punching each other there. He breaks people, right? So there was strategy towards some of the stuff he was saying to me early on. He said a couple of things, not trying to be cocky, not for him trying to be, disrespectful, but him trying to tell me, he's like, I've got you, I'm going to break you. Yeah, that's what he does. So he gets in your face, then things he's letting you know I've landed that. He wants to doubt. He wants to throw them doubts in your head. And I knew this. And I'm like, that ain't fucking happening. So I would land something. I'd be like going, oh, that got ya. Or just little things like that. Because there was one time he landed a shot and got me as I was stepping. And it sort of like got me like off. So it looks like I sort of wobbled. I was never rocked. But I mean, you could see that it got me off balance. And he's like, oh, and he does this. Like as in wobble jab. I'm like, what? You really think that? And there was another time where he goes, like, because I missed the punch, and he's like, doing this, as in, oh, yeah, got you fucking bullfighting. I'm like, oh, this cunt's trying to get in my head. I ain't letting that happen. So that's when I started, like, letting him know I'd land a punch. I'm like, ooh, that got ya. And then there was a couple of leg kicks. I'm like, oh, that hurt you too. And then there was other times where, there was times where I kicked his leg and it fucking hurt me. And he knew. And he's like, ooh, that hurt you. I'm going, yeah, that fucking hurt. Like, it literally hurt me. And there was times where I was even sitting there just letting him know. I'm like going, mate, we fresh. I'm fresh. I'm going all day. Again, just letting him know. I ain't breaking. I'm going, you fresh? I go, I'm fucking fresh. I'll go all day. Like, letting him know that I ain't breaking. Don't even bother. But so that's sort of a lot of the direction with it. But at the same time, I'm letting him know, like, he tries spinning back kicks and, doing things like that. And I'm like going, sick cunt. You know what I mean? I'm saying shit like that to him. I'm like going, you're a legend. Giving a handshake. He even said in his Joe Rogan podcast, what were you talking about? He goes, I don't know, sometimes you'd be like, oh, yeah, you're the champ. Like, he was saying, like, I was saying things like that to him and he just didn't know how to take it. But, like, I was just like, again, it's a sport to me. I ain't sitting there. I'm not hating on the bloke. I'm not trying to kill the guy. I don't hate him because he's my opponent. Yeah, I want him to lose, like, because I need to win. That's it. So that's just how I am. That's how it was. But, again, it was a lot of the banter, it was a little bit of banter. It wasn't too much there, but just more just letting each other know that we're here. So I was just letting him know that I ain't going anywhere. You ain't breaking me. I'm here all 5 rounds.
So 25 minutes after the start of the fight, you've had a back and forth, and it's one of these fights. It's sort of, it's a for me watching it and being let's say a white belt and a half with MMA. You look at both of you guys, and it's scary for both of you because both opponents, both people in that octagon have the ability to knock the other person out, and it's just this game of chess, back and forth, and you don't know what's going to happen. At the end of the fight, did you think you had won the championship?
Yeah, I was pretty confident. Again, I'm a hardest critic, so I know were we talking about earlier about getting punched in the face, and well, for me, if I get punched in the face, I hate that, right? So I sit there and I'm like, fuck, he got me. It's not good enough. I'm competitive. That's him getting mine up. You know what I mean? And even though I'm landing, I remember the ones that he's landing, and I'm not happy with that. That's why I'm always my hardest critic. I'm always, no, I could do better. So them things, they stay in my mind. So, like, I'll remember that, and I'll be like, oh, he landed a couple of shots there. I probably landed more, I don't know, but I know he landed a couple of shots. So I need to talk to my corner. So I'm talking to my corner each round. I'm like, how'd that go? They go, we're going good. So they're telling me, and towards the end, like, they're going, you got this. Look, this last round, he's going to go balls to wall. He's going to get desperate. After the fight, they're telling me, they're going, look, you won. You're the champ. You've got this. They ain't taking this away from you. So once I knew they were saying that, I was like, all right, we got this. So again, I got my faith in them round by round. I'm asking them. Even though I might think I'm ahead, but again, you never know. So again, you never know what the judge is going to say either. But at the same time, I'm going to believe in what my coaches think, and they were certain that we will win it. There was a couple of rounds. There was, I think, the second round where, they were like, you might be up, but we don't know. You don't know how this goes. Don't worry about that one. Yeah, we're not worrying about that last one. Keep going, doing your thing. You need to go there. And then after that was like, all right. Yeah, we got this.
Yeah, and you got
to be smart. You got to be smart, and again, you got to listen to your corner. I got all my faith in my cornerman, and I just went along with that.
And the referee lifts your arm. You've won the title. You've succeeded in exactly what you said you would do. You collapse to the ground.
Forget that.
You're stoked. Like, man, what a moment for you, for your family, your missus. It must be just an insane feeling to have achieved something that you set out and you work every day for.
Yeah, it is. It's again, finally I can let go. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All this pressure, it's done now. It's done. Now I can relax. Now I can just let it go. Let the emotions. Don't try and control your emotions. Don't try and stay composed. Fuck it. Let it go. And I completely forgot about Dana White putting the fucking belt around my waist. I forgot that. I'm like, oh yeah, that happens. I didn't even know. You watch back the tape and you just see me go to the ground, like, just like any other fight. And then he's like sitting there waiting, like, oh yeah, you got to put the belt on. I was like, oh fuck, I forgot about that. But that just shows you that I don't know. I just play every every second as it goes. I just play what's in front of me, man. And, you know, a lot of people rehearse and, you know, they picture putting that belt around their waist and all this sort of stuff. So that's you know, for me, that wasn't it. For me, it was the fight. You know, that's what all my focus was. That's what I was picturing. I was picturing what I'm going to do here, what I'm going to do there. You know what I mean? It's, I'm just a little bit different to some people, I think.
One of the things that I've been asked before is when I go and do a show and my name's up in lights and it's like, you know, live tonight, Isaac Butterfield, sold out, yada, yada, yada. One of my mates asked me, he said, what's that like? Is that like, you know, a really amazing moment? I was like, yeah, it is, but it's just normal now. Do you think that now that you're the champ and you've achieved that, is that something, you know, do you kiss the belt every night or is it just normal? This is what I've achieved and now it's on to the next thing.
Man, you're 100% right, man. It's just normal. It's just normal. Again, it's not that, again, like it's so much bigger to me than just what I do is so much bigger, not the belt. What I do is so much bigger. See, a lot of people fight, they want to win that belt and that belt's everything to them. That belt still means, me getting that belt means the success. Yeah, I'm doing, but again, I'm doing it for my country, my family, my friends, my teammates, my coaches. It was so much bigger than just me getting this fucking belt. Like, honestly. So there's no connection where I sit there and be like, I'll be honest with you. I'll be completely honest with you. It's so much bigger than that for me. So that's why. But what I love seeing is the people around me, how much they appreciate it, how much they love, how much it means to them. That means a lot to me. I see people and I show them and I can see, because I don't get this reaction. I really don't. Like you said, it's normal, right? I look at them and they look at this belt and they're like, man, you can see in their eyes, like, whoa, like, look at what I'm doing. Man, congratulations. Like, you know, you can see they're lost for words. I love seeing that. Again, it's like, this is why I'm doing it. These are people that have known me since I was a young kid. They got to see me success and wanted me to get this belt. I finally did it, you know what I mean? But for me, it's much bigger than that. I do it for them. I do it for my teammates. Again, I do it for so much more than just me getting this belt. I do so much more for my legacy. People talk about legacy. And that's not what it's about for me. You know, I don't know, you know, I don't know how people will take that. But for me, it's so much more bigger than that. Again, you know, I love seeing the Aussie fans. You know, I've got a Macedonian and Greek background. You know, I love seeing them supported. I love seeing them, you know, lift their flags and being proud. And my family, knowing that I'm coming back home with that win, with that belt, you know what I mean? That, you know, I get to take this belt home to my family. That was big for me. Holding the belt, man, there's videos of me holding that fucking belt. I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, you're the fucking champ. Wake up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why isn't this thinking in properly? I've got videos of that. I posted that up on my Instagram because that's how it is. Again, it's so much bigger. Then I go and I show people, and I love it. I love seeing it.
I think it's a very weird thing. It's like when you have something that you work so hard towards, it's like, unless you have the attitude of, okay, what's next, you won't stick around. And that's been my sort of mindset with stand-up is like, okay, if I can sell the Enmore Theatre out in Sydney, 2,000 people, all right, let's do 4,000 next year. You know, that's, if you don't have that mindset, then you just sort of fall to the wayside. And I think that's how a lot of people, if they don't have that goal, the thing they're moving towards, constantly moving forward, you see it with people who retire from sport. You see it with people who retire from work. They move backwards. It's a scary thing, and it's something I think you have to mentally fight against constantly throughout your life. Otherwise, you always face that risk of moving backwards. And I think, like most people, like yourself, moving forward and achieving new things and breaking these goals and breaking down these barriers is the best thing that you can do, whether it's in sport, life, family, whatever. I think that's the guaranteed mix with hard work to becoming a champion in anything.
Yeah. And what you're touching on is such a good point. And I don't know if you've heard Dominic Cruz say this once. They gave him the belt and be like, "Are you happy you finally got the belt back? You know, is it happiness?" And this, he goes, "Oh, whoops, sorry, mate." He goes, the day I was happy is the day I knew that I didn't need a belt to make me happy, or something. You're gonna forget these exact words, but it was along them lines that happiness when you know that you don't need a belt to make you happy.
Yeah.
And the way he said that, and it's real deep. Man, I wish I nailed that I don't think I nailed it properly. But go check it out. It's actually really, really good. But again, how I look at that, I don't need the belt. I don't need to fight for a belt for motivation. I don't need that belt for motivation. It's much bigger than that for me. So that's why, people be like, are you going to lose motivation now that you're a champ? Now you got the challengers chasing you. I ain't fighting for the belt. You know what I mean? It's much bigger than that. So, and what he says, what Dominic Cruz says there makes so much sense to me. That's exactly how I am.
Absolutely.
I don't need that belt to motivate me. It's much bigger than that.
I'm
going to be motivated either fucking way. I don't need to fight for that belt to be motivated.
Money can't do it. Belts, material objects can't do it. I was the same when I became a comedian. I was seen as a professional and all that type of stuff. I thought that when I made good money and I had achieved this goal that I had for years of being a comedian, that I would have no problems. But they don't go away. You just happen to be someone who has problems and more people know who you are. That's the only thing that changes. And I think that's just so, it's a crucial thing to learn, and to learn at a young age like you did and like I did. And I assume that Dominic Cruz did as well. I think that's going to be beneficial for everyone's, life as soon as they sort of come to address that. I think, you just said you had another podcast before this, so I won't keep you too long. But I want to know. I want to know what's next. Who do you see in your division? Who do you see in the division above yours? Do you go up? Do you go down? Where do you go?
Yeah, and that gets thrown around a lot. And one thing that I'll stand by is I'm not chasing other divisions. I'm not chasing other fights besides the guys that deserve a shot at my belt. You know what I mean? So I'm not chasing them. But if they were to come to me, these opportunities come my way. Different story. I'll take them. But right now, I've got a belt to defend, and I'm a competitor. I want to compete. I need to get back in there. I'm sick of waiting around. Get me back in there.
How can you compete? You can't leave the country at the moment. Is that?
Well, I don't know. I think things are starting to change. We just had a boxer, Anthony Malone. He's just gone over to Vegas.
Really?
He's going to defend his world title. So there are things you can do.
So for work, you can travel.
Yes. So I want to fight. You know what I mean? And that's it. So I'm like one of the champions that. Give me these, I called out fucking all four of my contenders. I said, if this Fight Island's a fucking thing, who's ready to go? I called out from 1 to 4. Max Holloway, Ortega, Zabit, and Korean Zombie. I called all 4 of them out and said, who wants it? Not many of them got back to us. So it just shows you, mate, like, I don't give a fuck, mate. Again, I got a job to do, and that's take out all these guys. Again, my goal isn't to be the greatest featherweight of all time, but that isn't it is a goal. It is a goal, but not because I can say. But I mean, that's success. It's putting me and my family on the map, and that's me being successful with my family. I need to keep winning if I want to make that money for my family, and I want to really build a name for myself and really build my empire. These are things that I need to do, and I want that empire for my family. So,
mate,
let's just tick them all off the list. Them all off the list, one by one. Bring them all on.
You've got that skill, you've got that power, and mate, I wish you the very best to create that dynasty for you and your family as well. And Alexander Volkanovski, the champ, thank you very much for joining us here today. That's fucking it, bros. All over it. What? Give yourself a plug. Where can we catch you on? What's your Instagram? All that type of business.
Instagram, Twitter, @Alex Volkanovski.
Good.
So that's so social media, pretty easy to find. We have a website up and running. We got just a couple of things that we're working on. Keep an eye out for that. Everything's going to go through there, make things easy. Thanks for the support. Thanks for having me, my man. And hey, I think we're going to have some news very soon, so make sure you stay tuned.
Fucking oath. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the show today. I don't have much else to say, so be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. My dick stinks, and I'll see you all very soon. Toodaloo. Au revoir. Bye.